Good morning, grade 5s. Good to speak to you again. This morning we're going to speak about visual literacy. I want you to find page 68 and 69 in your textbooks. Pause the video and find the correct pages, please. Right, let's continue with our lesson for today. Now, on page 68 and 69, they speak about visual literacy. Let's discuss the term first. You know what the word visual means. Now, visual means something you see, like a photograph. If I see a photograph, it's something visual. I don't read it, I look at it. It's a picture. Literacy means you hear about literacy in the news all and every day when we say we need to have more literacy in South Africa, for instance. In other words, we need more people who can read, to be literate, to read something. So visual literacy means you read words but with pictures with those words. Sometimes there are no words, you only have the pictures. Then it's complete visual literacy. All you have to depend on are those pictures, because you can read pictures. I'll show you why, and I can show you how you do it every day. Let's give you a good example. If you, grade 5s, decide that you need to ask your parents for something, you want a new doll, a new PlayStation, maybe a few rand to go to the movies, you want to ask your parents for that money or for that toy. And you do use a bit of visual literacy yourself. You look at your parents' faces for that day. If your parent looks cross that day, or angry, or just upset, you will not ask him or her that day. You'll wait until a later time and then ask the parent, could I have this or could I have that? You see what you did? You looked at a picture, your parent's face, and you read it like you read a book, and you decided to act upon that reading. So you know quite well how visual literacy works. I want us to go to page 69, Theseus and the Minotaur. This is a very age-old Greek story. It's a fable, which means it's not true, but it's a great story. It has been surviving for thousands of years. Let's talk about the words first. On top of page 69, you'll see they use the word Minotaur. There's a picture of it as well. A Minotaur is someone that's half man, half bull. No, there's no real such thing. Only in really old stories you'll find something like a Minotaur. Then a labyrinth or a maze. If you turn the page on page 70, you'll see a maze or a labyrinth there. You've seen those in your computer stories especially. There's always a maze, and they put you in that maze and you must try and get out of it through those little tunnels. So you know what a Minotaur is and you know what a maze is. Let's look at page 69. Please take note that there are different frames. A frame is a little square, and in that square there's a picture and a few characters saying a few words. That is called a frame. Now, if you look carefully on page 69, this specific story, Theseus and the Minotaur, has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 frames. I would suggest that in a test or in an exams, when you get a visual literacy exercise or question like this, the first thing you do is number your frames. Number them, frame 1, frame 2, and so forth. Because when they ask questions, they will most probably say, in frame 7, and then they ask you a question about frame 7. Frame 7, you need to know where frame 7 then is. I'm going to start reading there on top. When the king of Crete's son died in the city of Athens, he wanted revenge. Athens had to send him 14 young people every 9 years. He put them in a labyrinth, where a creature called Minotaur killed them. One year, Theseus, son of the king of Athens, arrived in Crete. So you have two places, you have Athens, you have Crete, two different kings, and now the king of Athens sent his son Theseus to Crete. You'll see in frame 2 there, you'll see the Minotaur waiting. Now he's at the island of Crete, and he's waiting. You can see there, he's a monster. He's waiting to eat someone and destroy him in that labyrinth. In frame 3, there's something I want you to take notice of. It says there, the king's court. So in a little square, in frame 3, it indicates where we are now. We are in the king's court. This is now in Crete. Right. Then there are speech bubbles. Remember the word speech bubbles. Those are the words that these characters say. Now the king of Crete says, so, the king of Athens has sent his son to die. And the little boy standing there, Theseus, he says, no, I have come to kill the Minotaur. Also in his own speech bubble. Frame 4. That night. And can you see that little girl, the son of Crete's daughter, the king of Crete's daughter, Ariadne? She comes there to the jail where that poor boy is being held, and she says, shh, I'm Ariadne. My father will kill me if he finds me here. Take these to the labyrinth now. In frame 5, you'll see what she gave him. She gave him string. The block there in frame 5, information block there, says Theseus unwound the string so he could find his way back out of the labyrinth. In other words, he walks into the labyrinth, and as far as he walks, up and down and round, he unwinds the string so that he can find his way back, following the string to get back out of the labyrinth. Square 4, or frame 4. Theseus threw powder at the Minotaur so it could not see. He attacked it with his sword. Now can you see the Minotaur attacking him right there in the middle of the labyrinth? And by the way, the speech bubble that the Minotaur uses there voices his aggression. Can you see? It's all sharp edges. He says, "Roar," and he's going to attack poor Theseus. But what the information block there says that Theseus threw powder at him and attacked him with his sword and killed him. Now, in frame 7, the second last frame, you can see the Minotaur quite dead. He has nothing more, no more fight in him. And Theseus, he's a good guy. He says, poor Minotaur, he probably hated his life in the labyrinth. Can you imagine? Someone wanted to kill you, some monster, but you still feel sorry for him. Theseus feels this way because he's a good guy. He's the positive guy in the story. He's the one who's our hero. In the last frame, you'll see Theseus speaking to his new girlfriend, Ariadne, the princess, and he says to her, the Minotaur is dead, come back to Athens with me. And the very last information block there says, so Theseus and his companions escape back to Athens with Ariadne. So it's quite a gory story, but it has a wonderful ending because the good guys win. And that was the end of the labyrinth, and the end of this monster, and the end of the Minotaur. And so, typical of these fables that are thousands of years old, it begins with good versus evil, and the good always wins. Most important thing I want you to remember is that this is still an example of visual literacy, and we pretty much read the pictures the same way that we read the words written there. The expressions of these characters, the way they are dressed, the whole picture in every frame gives us information that we read as if it were words. Thank you. Have a good day.